In this international break, most top teams are looking for high-level opponents to really test themselves. Argentina, on the other hand, went with a slightly easier matchup, but one that still had plenty of interesting storylines. So let's take a closer look at how the reigning world champions approached their first friendly ahead of the 2026 World Cup. First, the lineup, because this is where things start to get interesting. Argentina lined up like this. And to be honest, the back line isn't the most exciting part to talk about right now. It's not that they're bad, it's just that Argentina haven't really produced a standout new defensive generation yet. So for now, they're sticking with what still works. Emiliano Martinez remains in goal with Christian Romero and Marcos Senesi at center back, both proven at Premier League level. The fullbacks are Nahuel Molina and Marcos Acuna. If you zoom out a bit, Argentina have never really been known for producing flashy defenders. What they do have, though, are tough, street-smart players who know how to hold things together. And honestly, that's enough. This backline doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be solid enough to support what's ahead of them. Because the real story is the 6 players further up the pitch. This is where you start to see the future of Argentina, especially in a post-Messi era. Whether we like it or not, Messi's career is entering its final stretch, maybe 1 to 3 years at best if we're being optimistic. And Argentina clearly know that. They're already preparing for what comes next. In midfield, Alexis Mac Allister and Enzo Fernandez don't really need any introduction anymore. One is a Premier League champion with Liverpool, the other is a key figure at Chelsea. These are high-level midfielders, players who can control the tempo and also create moments out of nothing. Put simply, Argentina's midfield spine is already in a very good place. Ahead of them is where things get more dynamic. Thiago Almada operates off the right, technical, tricky, capable of creating something out of tight spaces. But at the same time, this is probably the most replaceable position in the lineup. Argentina have depth here, with players like Giuliano Simeone pushing from the bench, so competition is real. At the heart of it all is Nico Paz, the name everyone is watching. He's being seen as the closest thing to a natural successor to Messi's number 10 role. He's been outstanding at Como in Serie A and looks destined for a bigger stage very soon. A return to Real Madrid feels likely, but even if that doesn't happen, a top club move is almost inevitable. What makes Nico Paz stand out is that he's already playing as a true number 10 at club level. He's not learning the role, he's living it. And players at his age who can both dictate play and carry creative responsibility in Europe are extremely rare. Argentina might have found something special here. On the left, you have Nico Gonzalez, the kind of player who doesn't always grab headlines, but anyone who's followed Argentina closely knows exactly how valuable he is. A workhorse, no flash, but incredibly reliable. He does the dirty work, keeps the structure intact, and quietly delivers consistent performances. And up front, it's Julian Alvarez, a modern striker, mobile, intelligent, relentless in his pressing. He's not a traditional number 9 waiting in the box. He connects the attack, links play, and gives the whole system movement. Looking at this setup, one thing becomes very clear. Argentina are no longer built around a single individual. They're gradually evolving into a more balanced, multi-layered team, one with several bright spots and multiple options. Most importantly, they've started shaping their identity for life after Messi. It's still a work in progress, no doubt, but the direction is there. Argentina came into this game at La Bombonera under rather unusual circumstances. They were originally supposed to face Spain in the Finalissima, a proper high-level test ahead of the World Cup, but that fell through, and Mauritania, ranked 115th in the world, became the replacement. And in many ways, that context was reflected in how the game played out. Argentina controlled everything, but were never truly under pressure. From the start, Argentina played exactly how you'd expect. Plenty of possession, stretching the pitch, moving the ball patiently. No need to rush, no need to press aggressively, just wait for the right moment. And the opening goal arrived in classic fashion in the 17th minute. Nahuel Molina pushed forward down the right, delivered a simple cutback, and Enzo Fernandez arrived to finish it cleanly. A textbook move, nothing flashy, but enough to show the difference in quality. After that, the pattern didn't really change. Argentina stayed in control, while Mauritania sat deep and absorbed pressure. But the real highlight came in the 32nd minute when Nico Paz stepped up for a free kick. A beautifully struck effort, Clean contact, perfect curl, dipping just enough before hitting the back of the net. It wasn't just a great goal, it felt symbolic. A young number 10 scoring like that for Argentina on a day when Lionel Messi wasn't starting felt more like an introduction than just another goal. At 2-0 by halftime, the game felt done. Argentina didn't need to push, didn't need to raise the tempo. Everything was under control. But the second half told a very different story. Lionel Scaloni made a wave of changes, 8 substitutions in total. Messi came on, replacing Nico Paz, which in itself carried a bit of symbolic weight. Franco Mastantuono was introduced for Julian Alvarez, and several fresh faces like Gi and Gabriel Rojas were given their debuts. And from that point on, Argentina lost their rhythm. Instead of improving, their play became slower, more disconnected. The midfield lost its flow, and they barely created any clear chances. Messi was on the pitch, but didn't make a real impact. The tempo dropped, the structure became looser, and the overall sharpness just wasn't there. Mauritania, meanwhile, grew into the game. They stopped sitting back and began pushing forward, playing more directly and taking advantage of the spaces Argentina were leaving behind. What's striking is that Mauritania actually had more shots over the course of the game, and even a higher expected goals figure. So despite having far less possession, they were creating more meaningful chances. In the 94th minute, they got their reward. From a set-piece situation, the ball was delivered into the box, and Jordan Lefort finished from close range to make it 2-1. It was a goal that perfectly summed up Argentina's second half, a lack of concentration, a loss of control, and a defensive moment that felt just a bit too loose. There was a brief sense of tension late on, but Argentina held on for the win. Overall, this was a very post-World Cup Argentina type of performance. In the first half, they showed enough structure and quality to take control and effectively settle the game. But the second half exposed a clear issue. Once the tempo drops and the lineup becomes fragmented, they struggle to maintain control in the way you'd expect. Nico Paz was the standout, not just for the goal, but for the role he played. Mastantuono also had a solid 45 minutes, completing nearly every pass he attempted. But beyond the positives, this game raised questions about consistency and about how Argentina function when they're no longer built entirely around Messi. A 2-1 win sounds comfortable on paper, but if you look deeper, this was more than just a result. It was a light test, yes, but also one that revealed quite a few things Argentina still need to figure out. And the numbers back that up. On the surface, it might look like a one-sided game, but in reality it was far more balanced. Argentina had 65% possession and completed 642 passes at a 92% accuracy rate. Total control in terms of structure, but that control didn't translate into real dominance. They only managed 7 shots compared to Mauritania's 10 and posted an XG of just 0.67, lower than Mauritania's 0.87. That's a key detail. Argentina kept the ball, but didn't create high-quality chances. Both teams had 4 shots on target, and each only produced 1 truly big chance, which explains why this wasn't exactly a highlight-heavy game. Argentina did win more corners, 4-2, but couldn't turn them into sustained pressure. Mauritania, despite having just 35% possession, played more directly, took more shots, and actually generated better quality chances, showing a more efficient way of attacking the game. The most memorable moment of the match undoubtedly belonged to Nico Paz. After curling in a brilliant free kick from distance to make it 2-0, he didn't celebrate in an over-the-top way. Instead, he ran straight toward the bench and pointed in a very specific direction. And everyone knew exactly who he was pointing at: Messi. The cameras picked it up right away. Messi didn't say anything, he just smiled and applauded. But it wasn't a casual reaction. The way he looked at Nico, the way he clapped, it felt like genuine acknowledgement. Not just encouragement, but something closer to approval, like he was saying, yeah, you've got something. And the goal itself made it even more meaningful. It was the kind of free kick that felt very Argentina. Clean, precise, bending perfectly over the wall before dipping into the net. The kind of goal we've seen Messi score countless times over the years. And the fact that it happened while Messi was watching from the sidelines only added to the moment. What made it special wasn't just the quality of the strike, but what it symbolized. A young number 10 stepping up, scoring in a way that echoes the greatest player in the country's history, and then looking toward him almost as if to say, "I'm here." And the response was simple. A smile, a round of applause. That was enough. It felt like a quiet, natural passing of the torch. At the moment, Nico Paz is probably the closest thing Argentina have to a player who fits that number 10 profile. The way he plays, finding space between the lines, turning under pressure, creating something out of tight situations. It all feels familiar. But what's interesting is that while people are busy talking about who replaces Messi, Messi himself seems to be thinking beyond that conversation. In the lead up to this match, he was spotted spending a lot of time watching Argentina's U20 players in training. Not just a brief appearance, he was there observing, engaged, taking it in. It might seem like a small detail, but it says a lot about where he is right now. Messi is gradually shifting from being the one who creates the moments to someone who recognizes and appreciates them in others. His playing career is, realistically, entering its final phase. But the way he carries himself, the way he watches the next generation, and the way he reacts to talents like Nico Paz suggests that his story in Argentine football is far from over. Whether that's as a coach, a mentor, or someone working behind the scenes, it's hard to imagine him stepping away completely. And if that next chapter does come, his legacy won't just be defined by what he achieved on the pitch, but also by the role he plays in shaping what comes next.